few things which are very very common. And as I have discussing about the international marketing, there are some sort of tariffs, barriers, quotas, and uh, embargoes on the basis of which the products are moved from one country to another country. Why they are moving from one country to another country? The main reason is that they just want to increase their foreign exchange the organization is concerned. But when we are moving the product from one country to another country, each and every country is having their own policies and procedures, and the customs are having their own policies and procedures. So in the on the basis of these policies and procedures, these countries put up some barriers, embargoes, or some quotas for the products, so that person can only export or import only those products from one country to another country. But apart from that, there are some countries who remove all these barriers. So when they remove the barriers, so you can understand that there is a free flow of goods from one country to another country. So this is the thing which we are going to discuss in this particular topic, and I am quite sure that you are able to understand this topic much more effectively. So the first point in this barriers are to what are the barriers to international trade and investment. So here it is said that trade offsets differences in factor endowments, and factor movements reduces these differences. They are saying that whenever we are talking about the trades, so there is a difference in the factor endowment and the factor movement theory, which can only reduce the differences. However, there are some sort of barriers which exist in the international marketing. Or for the first line, I can say that whatever the difference in the factor endowments and factor movements are there, with the help of the trade barriers, it can reduce the differences. But when the differences are reduced, still there are a lot of barriers which exist, like management, which is limited ambition, ignorance of opportunities, lack of skill, fear, and inertia. That means that when we are talking about the management point of view, it is said that there are limited ambition of a country, that we don't want to move from one country to another country regarding the products are concerned, or they are not well aware about the opportunities which are available in countries when they are going for export or import businesses. In another word, you can say that they have lack of skills also. So in that situation, when they are having lack of skills, so you can understand this thing. Without skills, it is difficult for you to go for any export or import businesses, or you can go for any manufacturing areas. Then some countries are there who are having fear in the mind that in case if they will bring some goods from other country, those country will enter into their country and they will harm the domestic market. That means that foreign market or the foreign companies, they enter into the market, the underdeveloped market or the developing market, and what they will do, they will immediately capture the whole market by selling the goods of better quality at the economical prices, and they will destroy the domestic market. So this is another fear. And then they are thinking that in the terms of if you talk about the export and import businesses, they are saying that if we are going for any particular product which we are intending to buy from any other country, it is usually seen that it is the ownership of that particular country who is selling the product. They are selling the product to these underdeveloped countries at their own terms and conditions. So whatever price they are going to fix, it is fixed for those particular countries, and they will sell the goods at any price. Then second is the distance. That means transport cost. This is another reason why these barriers are there, or why the countries are in a position to understand that there are transport costs there, but it is still existing. and the various fees resulting in transfer cost and the transferring prices. That means they are saying when they are moving their products from one country to another country, it is usually seen that there are different type of fees which one person has to pay when they are importing the goods or exporting the goods, resulting in the transfer cost of the goods from one country to another country and the transfer pricing. So it is usually seen regarding the distances are concerned, the countries put some barriers, and these barriers are related with the products which can only sold in those particular countries, and not each and every product is going to sold in the country. Then the third point which says that the barriers exist, but because of these trade things, the things will be more smoother. The government, there are different governments in different countries and they are having different tariffs. Then non-barrier tariffs are there, protectionism is there, infant industry arguments are there. So if we talk about the government and the tariffs are concerned, it is usually seen that in, as I have just described to you, that there are different tariffs which are imposed by the countries for selling the goods or bringing the goods from one country to another country. Then the protectionism is there, that they protect the domestic market. Putting up the barriers help the underdeveloped countries to protect their market, because they just protect the market in the way, and they think in those terms that if they are putting up the barriers, the people will not bring each and every product into the country. Then infant industry argument, this is another argument which usually takes place, which says that the countries where their industries are very small or initial stages, they are just growing, if some barriers are removed, in that situation what will happen, the developed country, they will put up their products as I have described to you, and they will dominate the market. So if you talk about the run declining in the tariff trend, this is the graph which I have just given to you. You can see that there are different type of duties and taxes, and with the help of the graph you can see that in 1900 and 1820 the graph increases up to 60. That means it goes up to 70. That is the duties collected by the duties collected by the uh, different countries. Then it reduces in 1860. Then again it increases in 1900. Then further it increases in 1940. But after 1940 it declines. Why? Because the policies and the procedures changes, and the countries feel that okay, if we are just reducing their tariffs, it will be easier for their countries to bring lot of new goods, and they can maybe give some new technological advancement for their new and the infant industries which they are struggling to establish in their own country with the help of these new technologies and innovative ideas. So they reduce the tariffs. And if you see that after 1947 when the GATT comes, the graph decreases like and it's very drastically, and in 2000 it decreases like anything, so that the export and import businesses will take long term. And in the long term you find out that the tariffs are declined and the products are moving from one country to another country in a very effective manner. Then tariffs are imposed on export and imports or in transit. So it is usually said that tariffs are basically imposed on export or import goods, the goods which are transferred from one country to another country, or it is bringing the goods from one country to another country, or it is imposed on the transit of goods. That means that you are purchasing good from one place, Then you are keeping goods in your warehouses at the custom uh, points, and from the custom point you are selling that good to some other country. So these are known as transit points. For that you have to pay some tariffs, because if you are selling a good to a country where there is no port, or you cannot sell the product directly to that country, in that situation you have to need help of anybody. So usually what exporters and importers do, they put up their goods at the custom point. In most of the countries, at the points, there are a lot of big warehouses. So what they will do, they will send the goods from their country for another country, but they will keep the goods at a custom area in the warehouses, and from warehouses they will transfer the goods maybe by different means like rain or uh, um, road, etc. So on that, there are a lot of tariffs which are imposed by different countries. Then rise of quotas, especially the use of export quotas. Then it is usually observed that the quotas are rising. Why they are rising? Because when you are exporting the goods to any country, so there are countries who put up some quotas on that. That means that you cannot sell each and every product in that particular country, but there are some quotas on a different products, and on the basis of that you have to export the goods. You cannot sell each and every product. So if you are selling the goods in Brazil, if you are selling the goods in European country, if you are selling the goods in any underdeveloped countries like Africa, in that there are different type of quotas on different products. So according to that you have to sell the goods, or you can export the goods. The consequences of tariffs and quotas are what? That I have just given you a diagram, on the basis of which you can find out the things. I will just show it to you. Then in most of the countries, governments are giving lot of assistance in the form of some sort of incentives, or maybe in the form of some policies and procedures, so that they can promote the trade from one country to another country. So this is also important in the tariff quotas and northern things. So if you see here that this is the economic impact of tariffs and quotas. So if on the lower side you see domestic output at the world price and the price differentiation. So if you see this demand in the East Asian country, they have lost in the quarter 4 and quarter 5. That means it is the import quantity. Then tariffs goes to government, quotas put higher spending in corporate hands. That means that quotas imposing on those particular products are giving more and more money to the people. So if you see this thing, on the basis of this, maybe you are in a position to find out that how the prices are affecting the export business. That in the quarter 2 and quarter 4 you have imported the goods, but on the other hand in the quarter 4 and quarter 5 you lost the sale because of the domestic demand and the tariffs which goes very high. Then reductions of trade barriers. What do you mean by that? In 1970, when the GATT comes, that means before that also GATT increases. That GATT come in 1947 actually, as a part of the Bretton Woods Agreement, that also established the IMF and World Bank. That means in 1947 there was an agreement which is known as Bretton Woods Agreement. On the basis of that agreement, they have come up with the International Monetary Fund as well as World Bank. Then the ITO, a precursor to today's World Trade Organization, was not ratified by the US Congress, but GATT served as a basis for trade barriers reduction until 1986. That means from 1947 to 1986, GATT was there, and on the basis of the GATT, as I have told you, GATT was established in 1947 under the Bretton Woods Agreement, and with the help of the GATT, they basically reduce the trade barriers so that the people are in a position to do export and import business effectively. The recent issues in this reduction of trade barriers are trade in services, limits on foreign investment, establishing intellectual property rights, and agricultural policies. That means that what are the basic issues when it arises when there are reduction in trade barriers? First is trade in services. That whatever the services you are trading, it becomes very difficult for the countries to move from one country to another country regarding the export and import businesses are concerned. Then there are limit in the foreign investment. As per the rule GATT rules, they said that there are limit that up to this point only you can sell the product. That means you can export or import the product in the terms of financial matters are concerned. Then they establish the intellectual property right also, that okay, this is the product which is manufactured in this particular country, you cannot manufacture the same product in the other country also, or maybe the other country cannot manufacture the same product. Then there are different agricultural policies in European Union. So that is also one of the reason why the trade barrier reduces, and it will make a problem for the people. So there are some countries who are World Trade Organization member, and China is also the member. So if you see, there are 141 members and there are 31 observers. So if you see around the globe, the total number of members, which includes the observers also, it goes up to 180, right? So these are the World Trade Organization members who are taking care of the world export and import businesses. Then what are the issues which are surrounding in World Trade Organization? As you know, when we are discussing about the trade barriers, there are a lot of things which are imposed by the countries, right? But as per the establishment of GATT in 1947, the things become little bit easier, and there is a reduction in the tariffs. Then they are saying that what are the basic issues surrounding the World Trade Organization? Third party arbitration of trade conflicts. That means there are going to be a third party arbitration. As I have told you, arbitration means that there is a third party if there is a conflict between two parties. That means two manufacturing units in different countries, and they are not able to solve the problem. So in that situation, third party has to be involved into that, and they solve the problem. This third party is a neutral party. Let's take example of Boeing and Airbus. There was a big conflict between the Boeing and Airbus. In that situation, what happened? The arbitrator was appointed, and the arbitrator takes the decision on the basis of the hearing from both the parties. Then judgments enforced through sanction by other members government. Then in World Trade Organization, it is usually said that whatever the judgments are going to be given for the countries, it is with the help of the sanction of the member governments. That means that whatever the number of people are member of World Trade Organization, that I have said that 149 members are the active members, and there are 31 uh, observers. So it is said that whatever the judgments are there regarding any disputes within the countries, that means who are going for export and import businesses. So in that situation, the government of those member countries are taking into consideration, and the sanctions are given by the government, then only the judgments can be taken. Then loss of sovereignty. That means that in this situation, when the dispute arises, the loss of identity also takes place whenever there is a dispute. The lack of environmental protection standard. So this is another point which surrounds the World Trade Organization, that there are lack of environmental protection is standard. That means that whatever the protection environment standards are maintained or developed by different countries, they usually forget about the following the same protection standards regarding the environment is concerned. So this is another problem. Then job losses in production systems manipulated by global corporations. This is another problem which is surrounded by the World Trade Organization, that there are a lot of job losses in the production side. And when there are job losses in the production system, and it is usually manipulated by all the big global companies. So what they do, they manipulate the things, and on the basis of the manipulations, the things become very, very difficult for the small organizations to survive in the market. So this is another problems which are faced by the uh, World Trade Organization when we are talking about the barrier. Then we talk about other trade issues which usually occurs. The government barriers, exchange controls, capital controls. Yes, it is another problem when we are going for any export or import businesses. Suppose we are exporting goods from India to any other country. In that situation, there are a lot of barriers which are imposed by the domestic government as well as the foreign governments also, which are, let's take example for these barriers. It is known as exchange controls and the capital control. That means that whenever we are exchanging any goods while we are going for any export or import business, as it is said that there is another way of doing the export import businesses in the form of exchange of products also, services also, goods and services. So there are some sort of barriers which are imposed by the government of different countries. So on the basis of that barriers, the things become very difficult for the exporter and importers to do, and there are capital controls also. That means that they fix up the amount that beyond that you cannot sell the goods to any other country. Then there are multinational organizations. They are also having lot of problems, who are intervening in all the export and import business throughout the world. That is United Nations, WHO, ILO, ASEAN, Asian Development Bank, NATO, OPEC, OECD, EU, IMF, and World Bank. These are the all organization. They are also, dictating the terms regarding the economic situations are concerned in the multinational organizations. Then there are some reactions against these neoliberal institutions. All these institutions, there are reaction from the traders throughout the world, that they are creating a lot of problem for these people. Then if we talk about the regional economic integration, this is a chart which I have given to you for your understanding, that there are type of regional economic integration. One is free trade area, second is custom union, third is common market, and fourth is economic union. So if we talk about the free trade area, in this the integration is the removal of trade restrictions between member states. That means whoever are the member states, the it is said that the restriction between member states are removed. Then in custom unions, this is one point. Then second point is common external trade policy towards non-members. That means there are a common external trade policy which are formed, and they are for the non-members also. Then the common market. In common market, both the things are common, that is removal of trade restrictions and the common external trade policies. And third one is the free movement of factors of protection between member states. That means there is a free movement of goods from one country to another country with the help of the various factors between the member states. And when we talk about the economic union, in this all the three factors along with one more thing, that is the harmonization of economic policies under supranational control. That means they are saying that the integration of economic policies are so much harmonized in such a manner that there is an economic policy made for the supranational control. So if you see that the things become very very positive for the countries when there is a regional economic integration part is comes up. Then if you say there are a lot of international trade blocks, and these blocks are basically related with lot of other organizations which are known as the ACC, Arab Cooperation Council, and one group, Arab Maghreb Union, APEC, CACM, CARICOM, CEEAC, CIS, that is Commonwealth of Independent States, European Union, ECOWAS, EFTA, GCC, Mercosur, NAFTA, SARC, and SACU. So these are the uh, organizations who are ha- um, you know creating a blocks, trade blocks, or maybe in other terms you can say that with the help of the trade blocks, these in some states, these countries, these organizations are helping the organization to move forward also in different areas. If we talk about the NAFTA and FTTA, you can see very well that how the things are moving in a different manner. So it is also observed that these are the graphs which says that how the automobile industries are going to be affected with the help of this, because in this Mexican export to the US have grown much faster than US export to Mexico. Exactly what you would predict given the difference in labor cost also. Then OPEC, the most successful Carter. These are the responsible for 50% of global crude oil production. That means they are saying that OPEC is the organization who are having lot of members, and they are the people who are successfully dominating the world regarding the prices of the oil, crude oil production is concerned. So that means they are dominating 50% of the world crude oil production. So you can very well understand that these are the countries who are dominating the scene, and these will uh, create lot of problem for the manufacturing units who are trying to sell their goods from one country to another country. Then globalization and business cycles. In this, they are saying that historic business cycles tied to big swings in commodity production, impacted by factors such as interest rate and changes in the government demand. So here they are saying that when we are talking about the business cycle, which is tied to the big swing in the commodity productions, that means that there are a lot of products which start manufactured by a lot of other countries. So what are the basic impact factors which comes while they are going for the big manufacturing? It's the interest rate as well as the change in the government demand. That means the demand within the government is going to change in such a manner that whatever the things are coming through the manufacturing unit, it becomes more and more better. Then globalization dampens the importance of these national cycle, as does the logistical revolution. That they are saying that as on the basis of the globalization, it reduces the importance of these national cycles. As in one point we are saying that because of the historical business cycle, there is a big swing in the commodity production, which help, or you can say which is going to be impacted the various factors like interest rate and the change in the government demand. But on the other hand, they are saying that globalization also dampen the importance of the national cycles. Whatever the importance of national cycles are, these globalization is going to dampen those things. Then many more substitution possibilities for suppliers in the global marketplace also reduces the ability of regional producers to extract relatively high prices from customers. They are saying that what happened then there are a lot of substitution possibilities for suppliers in the global market. As I have told you this thing that when we are going for any export or import businesses, there are lot of substitutes, a lot of alternatives how the suppliers are going to supply their product from one country to another country and how they are going to help them out. So in that situation what will happen, it will reduce the ability of the regional producer, that means the domestic producer. So what will happen when they reduce the uh, ability to produce more, it will extract relatively high prices from the customer. That means you cannot take high prices from the customer in the domestic market, but the people who are selling the goods, that means who are selling the goods in your country, they are charging much more higher prices from the customers. Then next point which we are going to talk about is the trade barriers, tariff quotas and embargoes. The students are going, I think the students are in a position to analyze the benefit of the barriers. We have to compare and contrast different type of trade barriers such as tariff quotas and embargoes. This involved the exchange of goods or services between the country. As we have already mentioned this thing, international trade means that whatever the goods and services we are trading from one country to another country, that is the international trade, and it is described in the terms of export and import. Countries trade goods because no country has all the resources which are necessary for efficient production. That means that it is usually said that no country is self-sufficient. They require goods from any other country also to complete the production of any particular product. So it is very, very essential for each and every government or the country to go for the export or import businesses. Then, what are free trade and trade barriers? Free trade is nothing hinder or gets in the way of two nations trading with each other. That means that free trade means that there is no hindrance between the supplying of goods from one country to another country or selling the goods from one country to another country. It is free trade. Then countries sometimes set up trade barriers to restrict the trade because they want to produce and sell their own goods. As it is usually said that what are the trade barriers? Countries are putting up trade barriers because of only one reason. They just want to protect their own country. Because whatever the domestic markets are there, if there is no trade barrier, what will happen? The other country will come and sell their products in your country. So in that situation, you have to put some trade barrier which will help your country to develop your own domestic products in the market. That trade barriers keep products from being bought and sold between the countries. They hinder global trade. That means they are saying trade barriers keep the products for being brought from the and sold between the countries. That means they hinder, either they stop or they slow down the global trade. So it is usually said when there is a trade barrier between the countries, definitely it will slow down the process and definitely it will help the domestic market to grow much more faster. So there are three type of major economic trade barriers. Number one is tariff, number two is quota, number three is embargo. Basically, these things are barriers are designed in such a manner to prevent the import from entering in a country. What are physical trade barriers? The natural barriers can slow down trade between nations by making it harder and more expensive to move goods from place to place. These are the natural barriers. They can slow down the trade between the nations by making harder regarding the trade barriers policies are concerned, and more expensive to move the goods from one place to another place. That means if they are putting up the trade barrier, so that you have to pay some money in that as a fee is concerned, they are making those terms so harder, and they are becoming so expensive that it is difficult for the people to sell the goods or move the goods from one country to another country. Then example we can say is that Swift's help make it difficult for northern Italy to trade with Switzerland. The countries are building tunnel through the mountains to keep their trade easier. So I'm giving you an example regarding the Swiss help is concerned. They make it difficult for the northern Italy to trade with Switzerland. They were what they were doing. They were just making the tunnel so that the trades can be more effective and easy. But because of the trade barrier, the thing become more difficult for the trade. Then the Sahara Desert. Another example is that they make the northern African countries so difficult to trade with the most of the continent because of the Sahara Desert. So they make some trade barriers, and on the basis of that, it is difficult for the people to work or do the export or import businesses. Then what is tariff? Tariff is a tax which put on goods imported from other countries. That means that if you are importing some goods from any other country, on that you have to give some tariffs. That means you have to pay some fees, and after that only you are in a position to bring the goods from one country to another country. That means you can import the product. The effect of tariff is to raise the price of the imported product. That means that why they are putting up the tariffs, the reason being is that they increase the price of the product which is coming from outside the country. So when the product price is high after paying the taxes, in that situation, the domestic customers will not like to purchase the products at the higher cost. So it is difficult for the consumer to purchase the products at higher cost. That's why the tariffs are imposed on those particular products which are imported from foreign countries. Then it makes imported goods more expensive, so that people are more likely to purchase lower priced items produced domestically. Yes, this is the same thing which I have just mentioned to you, that it is easier for consumer to purchase domestic products which are of lesser prices, instead of going for any foreign products which are imported from foreign country, and when the tariffs are imposed on them, automatically the prices of those products increases. The tariffs are taxes which are charged for goods that leave or enter a country. As I have told you, this thing, tariffs are the charges or the fees which are charged from the either exporter or importers who are selling either goods or services. In order to get a product from another country, you have to pay extra for it. It is the same concept as sales tax that is put on items you purchase at the store. That means here the example is like this, that whatever the product we are purchasing, we are giving some sales tax on that. So it is the same thing which we are doing it when we are, uh, you know, bringing the product from any other country, we are paying some taxes on that. Then what are quotas? Quotas are restriction on the amount of good that can be imported into the country. That means if we are importing the goods, there is a restriction on the products, that up to this point only you can bring the goods into the country. Putting a quota on a good creates a shortage which causes the price of the good to rise. That means that if there is a demand for a certain product and you want to import that product, if there is a quota, you can very well understand that the prices of those products are going to be increased at different level. So the consumers are less likely to buy these goods because it's now more expensive than the goods produced in their own country. Quotas usually encourage the people to buy their own manufactured goods, that means the domestic goods. So if we talk about the quotas, it is usually said that quotas are nothing but these are the basic restriction which are imposed on certain goods, so that if you are bringing those goods into the country, the prices of those goods are going to be increased. And when the prices of those goods are going to increase, automatically people are going to buy the domestic goods. Quotas are also related with the tariffs are concerned, or as I have told you that in tariffs also, if you are putting up more tariff, definitely the goods cannot be imported from other countries because it becomes expensive. Same with the quota also, that there are a restriction that you can buy the products up to only this level. Then a quota is when a country limits the amount of a product that can be imported from other country. Example, we can say a country might limit the amount of cars imported from any other country to 500,000 per year. That's all. That means that the quota means that I can give you one example. Here I have given the example regarding the cars are concerned, that the country they have put up the quota that you can only uh, import the cars up to 500,000 per year, not more than that. Or just like this, there are some other products also which says that you can bring those products to your country up to a certain level. That means maybe you can bring 5,000 pieces of that particular product in a year, or maybe 50,000 pieces of that particular product in a year. So these are the quota. And do you think that what happened when their country reaches the import limit? Where will the rest of the cars come from? You have to think over that how the cars are coming if the quotas are exhausted, that the limit is reached at the prime point. Then benefits of trade barriers. What are the basic benefits of trade barriers? They protect the homeland industries from the competition. This is one big advantage, that they protect the domestic manufacturing units when the trade barriers are there. Second is they protect the jobs. Of course, they protect the local jobs also. But it is usually said earlier that if new foreign companies are coming, they are going to take the jobs of the domestic one. But it is not like that nowadays, because most of the companies who are coming here, they are just establishing their own manufacturing units here. And when they are establishing their manufacturing units here, definitely they need the people, and they cannot bring their people from their country. So in that case, they require the people from the domestic market also. They help provide extra income for the government. With the help of the trade barriers and the purchasing power of the customer who purchase the domestic products, they will help the government to increase their income. They increase the number of goods people can choose from. Yes, the domestic market help the consumer to choose different products which they manufacture. They decrease the cost of these goods through increased substitution or the sales. That means that the prices can be decreased in the domestic market when the trade barriers and quotas are there, so that they can increase the goods through the increased competition. Then tariffs increases the price of imported goods. That means whenever the tariffs are there, as I have already mentioned to you, that the cost of the products are going to be increased. The tax on imported goods is passed along to the consumer, so the price of the imported goods is higher. Less competition from world markets means there is an increase in the price of goods. That means that when there is a less competition, it is usually said there is a less competition in the market. Why it is so? Because the prices of the goods are so high that people cannot buy the products from that. So it is usually said that it is seen in the market that the countries who are putting up the trade barriers, maybe quotas, they are importing less products, and they are importing the products in a very limited quantity. So on the basis of that, I have just given you some MCQs also, and I'm quite sure that you're in a position to do give the NCQ's answer. The question says which of the following is no an example of sanitary and physiosanitary barrier to trade? The level of pesticide residue in agricultural produce, possibility of imported food causing disease in local population, addictive nature of the beverages, and none of the above. Then second is a form of protection which is often used to protect the agriculture sector in EU countries. What are the protection form in EU? Exchange control, public sector contracts, voluntary export restraints, and tariff on import. So you have to think over it that what are the possible areas how the protections are going to take place in the agriculture sector in European Union. You have to give the answer according to that. Then there is a situation where any advantage given by one member of the WTO to another member must be extended to all WTO members. The most favored nation principle, the excessive invoicing, trade diversion, and the comparative advantage principle. Then a situation where countries export a product at a price below the cost of its production. It is known as what? Price discrimination, new protectionism, full cost pricing, or price skimming. So these are few questions which I have just given to you so that you are in a position to give the answer for that. Then I have just asked you one more question. A specific tariff is what? Any tax on a particular imported good, an import tax that must be paid in kind, a requirement to pay the government a specified fraction of the monetary value of an imported goods, or a tax on imports defined as amount of currency per unit of the goods. Then one question say, which of the following refers to the fact that a large country can benefit by levying a tariff? These are common questions, or you have to use your common sense and you have to give the answer for this because I have discussed you about the uh, different globalization problems. Then I have discussed with you about the tariffs and the quotas also. The optimal tariff, terms of trade effect of a tariff, monopoly effect of a tariff, and all of the above. Then the imposition of tariffs on imports results in deadweight welfare losses for the home economy, or these losses consist of what? Protective effect plus consumption effect, redistribution effect plus revenue effect plus protective effect, and consumption effect plus redistribution effect. Now there is another question which says that when a government allow raw materials and other intermediate products to enter a country duty free, its tariff policy generally results in what? Effective tariff rate less than the normal tariff rate, nominal tariff rates less than the effective tariff rates, a rise in both nominal and effective, and the fall in both nominal and effective tariff rate. So these are the questions which I have given to you. You have to understand that what exactly these tariffs and what these quotas are. So try to understand this thing that whenever the question comes or whenever somebody discuss about the tariffs and the quotas, these are imposed on each and every country, or you can say most of the exporting and importing countries. But why they are putting up these things? They are putting up these tariffs so that the limited amount of products can imported from foreign countries, and they put up these tariffs so that the prices of those products increases, and the domestic markets are going to be, protected by the government on the different basis. And when the domestic market is protected, automatically whatever the sales tax are levied on the domestic products, it is the earning for the government of that particular country. So I'm quite sure that you are in a position to understand this, what is exactly tariffs, and hopefully that you are in a position to give the answer for all these questions which we have discussed here. And this is all from my side. Thank you very much.